Welcome to Biggest Geekus. We're your hosts. I am Joe.
And I'm Randy.
This is episode 138 of our show, and the date is Tuesday, May 9th, 2023.
Right on, dude.
So a little stutter there at the beginning.
Yep.
Rumble, which we are hopefully live on here. I can't tell if anybody can hear us or not because no one seems to be over there. Even though folks were asking for it. I know I put up a link that ended up being not great. So if you are here and we're hoping to see us over at Rumble, we are there, but I put up a new link in Discord. So, yeah. So we are live in YouTube, Rumble, and Twitch at the moment, which is awesome.
Oh, Iron Man saying he wants to see our Dungeon 23. We should probably give that to the Patreon guys. It's just like, look, this is all we did, but it's something you can play for a few levels. It's ready to go.
Yeah, we should do that.
We should just put that up there. Give it to them. Yeah, guys, look, we got some everybody, all the cool people are here. Brian James, welcome. Full Metal Dragon, love that name. Darth Theik, Lady One Rambler, Mr. Boivan, Iron Man, Green Apple, of course, the Crafting Gamers just snuck in, and Martinson and Patrick Demo, the Cabin Con folks. Yeah, we got the crowd is rolling in quick. So, you recovered, my brother?
Oh yeah, I was really tired yesterday. You can ask my wife.
Yeah, Sunday.
But being the trooper I am, as tired as I was, I still got up and did stuff. Yeah. I did stuff for the wife.
And Malachi, don't forget him. DM Blackwall, he will be on shortly. He had a good time. We all had a good time. We'll talk about Cabin Con. We got a lot to say about that. We're going to save that for the second segment.
Malachi is giving me a new name.
Hey, hey, Joe.
I'll be like Bono. And well, no, it's not Edge. It's the Edge because he's an idiot.
But, I'm the Randy. You're the Joe. I'm also talent, so that's how it goes, man. Don't feel bad, Joe. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Okay, fine. Okay, one other note about Rumble is there is a slight delay between us here in StreamYard and you guys seeing us on YouTube and Rumble. There's a slight delay between all of that. So if someone goes in there, oh, hey, Retro Enthusiast over on Rumble. Thank you for showing up over there.
All right. I can't see the Rumblers. I don't have an account yet, but I'll be getting one so I can
here
with them.
I put the link. You may be able to go look at it without even being having an account. I don't know how that works, but let me put the link in our private chat because it's tricky like that.
Because we're very private people, except for all the
there you go.
Dude, I'm linking. I am rumbling. It's gonna be loud.
All right.
Death Dog 13. Look at that.
Death Dog.
Nice.
Death Dog, welcome.
Yeah, man.
If you originally
I have to sign
don't change your subscription status necessarily for little old me, but somehow I had set up an account.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long ago on Rumble. Didn't do anything with it.
Right.
And then when I set up the stream, it somehow is streaming to a slightly different username.
Huh.
So you sign up as a user and then you create a channel, but you can stream to your user account or your channel that you've set up. So for some reason, I don't think that's very smart on their part because it's causing confusion in old people like me.
Not to mention, I don't even know what you said. I heard your lips. I watched your lips moving and I heard sound, but you said something about streaming to accounts. I don't know what that even means.
Yeah. So essentially your user account, you create a channel.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know I didn't necessarily need to do that.
Oh.
Well, I did because it said when I went to set up live streaming, it said stream to your channel. Set up. You must have a channel to stream to, but it ended up streaming to my user account instead of my channel. So this is the way it looks like to me. It's kind of weird. I just have to get used to their user interface.
Sure.
So
it looks nice. It looks a lot like the tubes of you. I'm just glancing at it.
That different. It's not that different. If you would like to donate to Biggest Geekus, Big Geek Emporium directly via a streaming resource, much like what do they call it here on YouTube land? Super chats.
Super chats.
Super chat. You have on YouTube. You have to wait for 1,000 followers. Not so much over at Rumble.
Because they have chats.
We can do it right now. So you can head on over to Rumble. The link is in the chat here toward the beginning. Oh, hey, is that Max Boivan I see in there? Yes, Max Boivan. Welcome. Yep. I don't know if we welcomed you already.
I did quickly. I'm behind on a couple of his episodes. I need to get caught up on that. Anybody know?
Oh, yes. Mr. We have a user in there said, your buddy 75. What is that?
I don't know.
Oh, he's a premium user. Oh, you premium user, you.
He's got the skills, man. Don't mess with him. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, this will be tricky, man. Trying to bounce between that and I don't know what I'm gonna. This can't be good for me. You thought I had a learning curve here. Rumble and YouTube and StreamYard. Holy cow.
He also has a little supporter icon next to his username. Maybe that's a supporter for Rumble.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get any notification for him supporting us over at Rumble, but he supports us already.
He shows up supporting.
Yes. It's Bruce.
Oh, that's Bruce.
Yeah, your buddy 75 is Bruce.
Okay, cool. He's one trying
our buddy.
He is our buddy. All right. So I would ask you about what gaming, but I know you gamed, and we'll talk about that later. Go ahead.
Malachi says he prefers. Someone had said, "Where's our Dungeon 23?" Malachi says he prefers TBE's Hex 23 over Dungeon 23. So that's hex crawling, which is outdoors. It'd be cool to. I should tune in. He's probably got an episode or 3 on that. We should probably tune in and see what the difference is.
We should. I got a long list of his I need to. Oh, Darth. Yeah, if you can teach calculus, you got this, Randy. Oh, I can do it, but Joe knows I'm lazy when it comes to computer stuff. I want to like take the computer out of the box, turn it on, and then Joe says, push this button to do this, push this button to do that. And it just doesn't work that way. And I think Darth has got a serious comment. I'm going to be more screen real estate. Is that like you, Joe? Am I going to have? Well, hold on. I've got a screen.
I'm considering a third screen.
Dude, hold on. Tell me this, people of much technology skill. The fact that I own this screen, it's a newer one. Could I somehow connect that to my computer and make it my second screen?
Well, you have an Apple, right? You have a Mac.
A Mac, you can't do that? Macs are dumb.
Well, I will say that you might be a little challenged in that arena. Don't they only have one output on there? There might be a video out on that.
I got 4, but they're all the same. So I need an adapter, which I have.
You will need an adapter, yes. I'm not sure exactly if I'm sure that you can plug in a monitor. That is a very typical setup where someone wants an extra monitor, a mouse, even though you've got the little trackpad, perhaps.
Yeah.
But a lot of people prefer a mouse to that, and all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah, there's a HDMI or VGA plug. There's an HDMI plug on that. Yeah, it's a newer one.
No, you don't have that, but you can. I think what it is Lightning.
No, I'm saying I have it on the screen, and I have an adapter.
Yes, as long as you have the appropriate cable for your monitor and an adapter for your Mac, it should work out fine.
All right, well, I'll have to get that set up. Martin says
you're on your own.
He will hold my hand next time, Martin said.
No, you're on your own. You must do this on your own.
It's
the only way you're ever going to get better.
Okay, here's the truth. I don't want to get better.
It's like homework for your students. It's the same thing.
I know, but I'm past
Take your own medicine.
I'm so past all that now. Yeah. Okay. So I can connect it to a TV.
Yeah, he's talking about something slightly different. You're wanting to.
I got an
So
HDMI.
you don't have a desk. You're not working off of a desktop. You're working off of a laptop.
Righto.
Okay. So you have a Mac, and the Mac only has. Isn't it called the Lightning?
Yeah.
A
Currently,
Lightning out.
I have a MacBook Pro. I got 4 little
It's
ports.
just one proprietary type of output. You have 4 of them, but it's one kind.
Correct.
This
This is it. This is the one type. There's 2 on each side of the typing pad, and this is my little connector that's got all these. It's got HDMI and other groovy things.
Oh, so you don't need an adapter. It's already there.
Correct. I have 2 of those. See, I do
Okay,
know.
so you're good.
Thunderbolt.
Yes. Thunderbolt and lightning. Very, very frightening.
Like a metal song.
Yes. Yes. So so you don't need an adapter. You already got that.
Believe it or not, Joe, I actually showed pictures of our Europe trip. I have connected this computer to my TV. So I have done some, I would call fancy, what you would call weak sauce stuff.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all good.
So yeah, so I think you're good.
Okay.
You just need to have the correct cable that will connect your monitor to your computer.
Gotcha.
And then you're going to have to do some stuff with the settings there, and it's possible.
Mirror? Is it the mirror setting?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know Max, but I know that.
Oh, I've done a mirroring of my computer onto the overhead. I've done that.
So it might slow down your computer a tad, maybe, because it's outputting more video through your different outputs. So, and that takes a little bit more processing power. And if your processor is designed to do that, then it should be fine. 10D6 Thunderbolt for the win.
Yeah. Let's see. Your buddy 75 on Rumble, which I believe is Bruce. Yeah, it is Bruce. He admitted it. I just optimized and used 2 laptops, 1 hooked to an HDMI. Joe bringing a web redemption. Randy denying and wanting to be an Eloi. We don't want to be a Morlock, Joe. Boy, he is speaking some geekitude. Okay. Thank you, Dartheic. Mirror no mirror will only copy your screen. Okay. Gotcha.
Huh, this is interesting. So I'm trying to type in a comment over here in Rumble, and there is a send button. It looks like a little arrow, paper plane, like a little paper plane arrow.
Yeah.
And it's doing nothing.
Mine says sign in the chat, and I can't sign in. How do you like that?
Sign in to do the chat.
And I don't have I need to get an account if we're going to do this.
Okay, maybe I'm a bit of a Luddite.
No, we'll figure it out. It'll figure it out. We love the Rumbles. If we can't comment yet, we will. All right. So other than that, so we've recovered from Cabin Con mostly. Like I said, I worked out this morning, had breakfast with a friend about 8:30, did some local helping out for an animal shelter thingy, recycling some cans for them. And then I rode my bike for about a good 2 hours, got in 15, 20 miles. It was fun. A little tired, but it was a good exercise. So I felt like I've been pushing pretty hard exercise yesterday too. Biked quite a bit. It was cold though yesterday. I was freezing my butt off. I rode about 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the evening. It was cold. But yeah, we're going to save that till later. Hey, should we bring our guest on and move into the action, or you got some other stuff you want to say?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that. I was trying desperately to chat over here in Rumble. I guess I will have to figure that out later.
Yeah, sorry guys on Rumble. I'm a noob. Joe just has a lot on his plate. Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to add our guest, DM Blackwall, aka Todd. Welcome, Todd.
Thanks. How's it going, guys?
Good. Sorry for making you wait so long, dude. We just got, I was trying to help Joe with technology. He needs that from time to time.
Oh, I understand. I also sent you a link in private chat to help with your Apple problem.
Oh, Apple support. Okay. Thank you. How simple. I can't help but feel, Todd, that was a bit of a dig at me. A well-deserved one, but a bit of I am kind of a douche. Hey, Hungar, what's up? Your nerds are here. So.
Okay. Duh.
I know. Shocking. Nerds in a game.
If you have any interest in computing or in gaming, it's Nerdville. So what?
Yeah.
And you're one of them. Ha ha ha.
Join us if you want to live. Oh, what is Matt Barniger saying about MacBooks? Is that like a symbol that says, Randy, you're so cool, lightning awesome?
Lightning and thunder.
Ah, yes. All right, sweet. Well,
I think that they at one time had an advantage on throughput, but I don't think that I think that USB-C might be comparable.
Yeah.
But I may be wrong about that. It's been a while since I was following that kind of tech around.
What might be comparable?
USB. You have your regular USB. Yeah. There's a type of USB that is USB-C.
Yeah.
And it has pretty good throughput. And they called it Lightning because it was, I believe, very much superior to USB at the time they brought it out, or something like that.
Okay, Todd has to go. He just sent me something that's super easy. Even I can do it.
This is a big change from camping this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good to have Todd there. He came to CabinCon. Him and his partner in crime, Nathan Lindy. It was cool. We had him there. We'll talk a lot about that soon. We're going to have DM Blackwall help us discuss a new segment we're going to have as we embark into a campaign here very soon of Hyperborea. We're going to call it campaign analysis. And I've got a couple of ideas of different things we're going to talk about a campaign. And then each time we talk about a subject, we're going to kind of connect it to how Hyperborea is going to roll. So
I have to say, CabinCon was decidedly low tech.
Yes, it was.
We were forced into it though because the internet was no good.
Hit and miss.
Yeah, it was unreliable, which means unusable to most people.
Yep. All right, shall we get into it, Joe?
Let's see. Yes, let's get into it. Campaign analysis.
Yeah. So
we've got. Hey, I'm the boss today.
My bad. You got the lead. I'll let you lead. I have a hard time with that. I'm a natural born leader.
You're a natural born attention hog.
Fair enough.
So today's main topic is on campaign analysis. Well, we're talking about different kinds of campaigns because we are about to kick off a campaign using Hyperborea by Jeffrey Talanian of Northwind Adventures. We have a link. I can grab that link and put it in chat for those of you who don't know anything about it, which I'm sure is none of you. I should, when I do that, put it over. Let's see, over here. Oh, that's right. I can't. Can I?
I know they're kind.
Yeah, I can't do Rumble. I can't do the Rumble chat for some reason.
It's all right.
Anyway,
yeah,
we're going to start a new campaign using Hyperborea. Hopefully, once DM Blackwall and his partner get Horde Wars off the ground.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be able to go full steam on that too.
I'll be making at my table.
Yep. Right.
Glad to hear.
So we've got some general campaign types we're going to talk about. So there's some disagreement to specifics. We're going to agree about that these are ways people play. Terminology may differ amongst people. It doesn't. That's less important than the point of the type of play style. So you've got the railroad, which I hate If it's all you've got under your belt as a DM,
Yep.
you might want to expand your horizons, but it's good for convention style play because most of the time you want to sit down and roll dice. You don't want to worry about stuff. So railroading is where the DM has everything set and thou shalt not deviate from the rails he has provided for you, except in a limited fashion.
And some folks think just because you run a module, you're on rails. That's not true. A module can be a part of a setting. The players can decide whether they pursue it or not, but it can be things that are happening. It can be things that are completely happening in the background. I want to pause. I'm not sure I understand Boisvin's comment. Hyperborea is based in Tuvalu. I just Googled Tuvalu. It said something about a Polynesian island country in microstate. So I'm not sure what he's referring to. You recognize that? Oh,
no. Maybe it's terminology in the book that I overlooked, but I don't remember that being part of it.
yeah, I'm not sure. But we'll get to that in a second. So on the railroad, usually it's kind of a linear path. Most people think of hard rails. I would imagine that the Quantum Ogre makes a lot of appearances there, right? You have an encounter set up. No matter which way the players go, they're encountering that. What do you think, DM Blackwall? What's your opinion of a railroad game?
Well, I mean, yeah, I agree. It's good for conventions and that kind of thing. But I think there's a vast difference between the DM attempting to drive the plot as a style of gameplay and the DM designing, say, a region of a world and letting the players run around in it.
Right. Yeah,
both in intent, like on the part of the DM, and in terms of the freedom the players have to act.
What do you think about adventure paths? This is for you and Joe. Like Paizo's kind of coined the term, but even back in the day, we're going to do the Against the Giants series. We're going to do this and that.
I mean, I think those are a cool idea in theory. I think in practice, it's just a way to create microtransactions.
Oh, okay. Oh,
what modules?
Yeah, because the adventure paths are basically, they're not just selling you the adventure. They're also selling you associated miniatures. They're also selling you associated maps, tiles, other miscellaneous gear.
True.
I mean, I think they even have like T-shirts and stuff. So yeah, no, I would describe it as a way of turning a module into a microtransaction.
Yeah, it can. I mean, you're talking more for Paizo, right? Their adventure path.
Correct.
Yeah, I think 5e falls into that trap too with a lot of their books. They're basically just all collected in one book now. I don't necessarily I don't have an issue with the idea of running an adventure path. I also don't think it's bad if a play group goes, you know what? We'd like to play through Against the Giants. We'd like to play through Rise of the Rune Lords or the Shatterstar or something.
Something like that.
I don't think that's necessarily bad. Some people get really caught up on railroads are so bad. Railroads can be fun. And as I think Boivin mentioned there is a version of the railroad, which I think is kind of like the theme park. I'd mentioned that when we were off air. And that's where you leave a lot of options, but there's still soft rails. You know, there's walls around the park. You're not leaving the park.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was referring to, where the kind of region is built, but the players are pretty free to act within the region.
Yeah. Yeah. Darth Theox says this is, I think it's interesting. He says, very true. I started running the Night Below box set, and about 6 sessions in, the party just walked away from it and started exploring in another direction. The game still ended up really good. Yeah, I mean, I think if you're doing things where if you have hard rails and your players literally bump into them and you force them back into the storyline and they cannot leave, and I think there's a difference between that, and we'll call that's a sin. In gaming terms, the Dungeon Master, that's a big no-no, because part of playing D&D and other RPGs is having that freedom. What do you guys think of that as players, to do what you want?
Well, I think that I value the ability to make decisions and then be meaningful. I know that folks will also say that I can trick you into thinking that those are meaningful, and while still being Mr. Railroad, but and it's possible as long as I can't tell that my the directions I go and the decisions I make are crap, then I'm probably not going to care.
Yeah. And I think there's something to be said. Like, people get really mad about the Quantum Ogre. I claim most players never know that.
Yeah, they do. They don't. I mean, they don't. It's hard to tell.
I mean,
until a DM lets you know. Well, this is what I got for you. So go where you want to. This is what I got for you. Some DMs do that.
I think when you do that, as a DM, you should just be honest. Why lie? Why deceive? Just go, well, look, guys, this is what I have prepped. Do you want to play it or not?
We have a player we know when he runs would say he agrees with that. I mean, if you have limited time to prepare and you prefer to use pre-made stuff, or I grabbed a module and I'm running it, and you're just like, you're not inclined to wing anything, just wing it off the cuff, they'll say you're a bad GM, so what? But I mean, if you're the only guy stepping up to GM, my argument.
Well, I was thinking too, a lot of times I have the party commit at the end of their game to what they'll be doing the following week, at least at the beginning.
Right.
And so that enables me to prepare in a way I couldn't if it was just find out that day.
Yeah. This is not a bad interpretation. Full Metal Dragon says, railroads are directed stories. Sandbox campaigns are emergent stories. When we define the sandbox, we might have some other ways to think about that. Mr. Boisvan says, in an RPG, it shouldn't be the GM story. Agree, and I've been guilty of that. It's the protagonist story, and the protagonists are the PCs. Agreed. But it doesn't mean you can't all agree to play an adventure. Joe talked about a lot of people he knew would do that. We're playing this module, we're playing that module. Back in the day.
Let's just play. What module are you running?
Yeah.
They might even ask for a particular module. Why don't you run this module? Okay. And if everybody at the table is fine with it, who cares?
Yeah. And to be clear, I don't have a problem with modules, but you had asked about adventure paths specifically, and that's kind of a Pathfinder term.
Yes.
And those I have a problem with because of all the associated merchandise. Not so much that it's a module.
Pawns book, you get the Pawns box set, all the pawns with the perfect figure flats for every single character, and all the they used to have like the magic item cards and the gear cards and the NPC picture cards. They had tons of stuff. If you were committed to Rise of the Rune Lords, you could buy a lot of that crap. And I use some of it for different things, but yeah, it's kind of rough. Yeah, that's for sure. That can be a problem. I don't think the adventure path idea is bad, but you have to be willing to move off it if the players aren't interested. Arnman mentioned something that sounds like something I said before we got started. He said his sandbox campaigns are open world with many small railroad adventures scattered about. Take them or leave them, but they are there. Yeah. And if I drop something into the campaign, a module, say there's a dark temple to the south by the town of Hamlet that's starting to show activity, and the players just ignore it, that's fine. I'm not going to ignore it. There will be consequences.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Whenever you've run a module and we've said,
"Yeah,
screw you, hippie," and so by our actions, we don't want to do. And that's not like we said we don't care that you bought the module.
No,
and we don't want to do your module.
Right.
It's just many times we've not done the expected thing.
Sure.
Or the default action that the module assumes,
which is generally
and some DMs will say, "Hey guys, that's not in the module," which I suppose is fine, but I don't care for. But others will roll with it, and you roll with it.
I did.
Because you know about what's happening in the module, so you can easily adapt.
Yeah, and sometimes I think it's good to list. I get a chuckle when you guys just really take a wild turn, and sometimes I've seen you guys shortcut a module, and you win it. You still complete it, but you guys go it through the side. Right.
With respect to adventure paths, your buddy 75 over on Rumble says, Randy, I'm using 2 adventure paths and hex crawling, occasionally dropping other instances for them to explore using Pathfinder's slow experience. The campaign is in year 3 and at 11th level.
You're doing it right. That's correct. That's a good way to do it.
So I think if you like, I think railroad is kind of a derogatory term for a style of DMing.
Yep.
And that style is, I have a story to tell, and you are here to be the puppets of my puppeteering. And many of us don't care for that, but if I have a good time at your table, I don't really care.
Yep.
When it comes down to it. So, and I can probably have a good time with most DMs that even do this if they do it in such a way that I can't really tell. I mean, I might be able to if I pay attention a lot, but I don't do that. To that, if you can pay attention to certain things, you might be able to tell that they're, doing that. But I'm so into the moment when I game, and I have 2 people here now instead of just me and Randy. So Todd, who DM'd me a lot over the weekend, knows I just step right in and go for it.
Yep. That's Joe.
And so if you do that kind of thing, I probably won't be able to tell because I'm too busy doing.
Yeah, you're an adventurer that does stuff. You like to do it. You play adventurers that are there to take an adventure. Patrick Demo says all railroads are equal. Not all railroads are equal. Agreed.
Right. Some people do it a little bit, and then they're able to adapt to the player's shenanigans.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome to see your group at that last session you played set up and then defeat that dragon, like with a series of successful skill checks and clever choices, because oh man, you all should have died.
What? Right. And if it could have easily gone the other way if we would have just said, we're going to go to the dragon's lair, kick in the door and say, what's up, yo? Which we didn't do because that would have been dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't imagine, considering the things that happened there, I don't imagine even higher level characters, even a group of higher level characters, being able to do that with a dragon.
Oh yeah,
because that dragon had all kinds of traps.
Yep, that's very much the intent. We want dragons to be fairly terrifying, and you guys fought one that you had successfully ambushed. You beat in initiative, and Patrick had managed to stun, so it missed one of its actions. Like you were fighting in the best case scenario, really.
Right.
Yeah. It all came together perfectly. Some might have quibbled that lots of extraneous abilities have been heaped on dragons over the years, including just being able to detect that folks are in their lair. Not being able to smell them or see them or elsewise. It's just somebody's in their lair, they know about it, and they can't be ambushed, essentially.
Yeah, I don't think that's very fun. I mean, especially, and it doesn't throw back to The Hobbit, right?
Right.
Smaug has no idea they're there.
Right.
And he's ancient.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like even 3rd edition, they had that. Now they had blind sense and then blind sight. And blind sight was super powerful. You couldn't be invisible. I mean, could you not even sneak past them? I don't think like a shadow dancer could even hide from a dragon.
Probably not.
Blind sight. Maybe that was the only way.
I do have a desert dragon like that for the advanced game who summons sandstorms. Except he's got echolocation. So he can feel you through the ground moving around. So he's not blind at all. So
he could be circumvented perhaps if you had a way to mess up his hearing.
Right. But if you don't, he'll just butcher the party and you will not see him coming.
Right.
So does echolocation work on flying targets?
Potentially. It would depend on if he's currently underground or not.
Gotcha. So do you think? So I kind of wish we had. I kind of wish we had Bob Van on here now. I know he's talked about the theme park type of adventure, but from what I gathered from him and others, the theme park railroad is where you build these. Yeah, Doom, plant the thumpers. A theme park.
That's pretty cool.
I've done this when I played back in the day. I would set multiple adventures, and I imagine this is what Bruce is doing over there on Rumble. They probably stumbled into a different adventure path. I've had different modules kind of start in some campaigns and they intercept another one, and so the players feel like they're getting involved sometimes in a variety of different adventures. And like, man, what should we do? And I've often got my group like kind of befuddled. What's that? What's the word for a plethora of options? They get analysis paralysis, and they don't know where to go. And I wonder if that can be a problem in a theme park style where you have all these options for them to explore, similar to a sandbox, but there's still the rails. You can't leave the park.
Right.
I mean, when you do that kind of campaign, generally speaking, you're going to like tell the players. You're going to be like, this campaign is taking place in this valley or on this island or in this county or in this kingdom or whatever the borders are. And so kind of part of the buy-in for the players is agreeing to stay in that area. One of the upsides is you can set up a really cool campaign that way that could go any number of directions because it's kind of focused around where the players go as to what happens. But you've also got these set piece things that you can prep well ahead. I've also done that with a group and had the players prepare some of the encounters, and then gone through and tweaked them a little bit. But that gave me some ideas I never would have thought of.
Bob Van clarifies. He says the theme park, you got a bunch of rides to pick from, or you can just hang out at the eatery. But if you go on a ride, you do the ride. So once you start, it's like a roller coaster. Once you get on, you're on till it's over. That's I guess it depends. And DMs can be, we're still on the railroad thing, but I think it's interesting. I don't think railroads have to be as vilified as they have been. But I do think it's probably less desirable to just say, I'm not inclined to tell my party or to tell my players we're going to do. In fact, I don't recall since many, many years ago that I ever said we're going to do this adventure. Get ready. Sometimes, but probably not very often. I just start playing and I lay down, the breadcrumbs and they follow them or they don't. And sometimes I think maybe I may not even lay the breadcrumbs down enough to where they know what to do. Joe usually catches them pretty quick. He knows what I'm trying to do. Though I think last time our OSE game, I may have thrown at one point, I threw so many ideas at him. Joe's like, dude, should we do this? Should we do that? And I'm just thinking, just pick one. Do it. I agree with Green Apple. I don't mind a railroad as long as we have a good time. I agree. The ride can be fun.
Yeah, that's what I was saying in the beginning. Hey, your buddy 75 over on Rumble, just so you know, we don't see your chats over here in StreamYard automatically. So I have to look back and forth. So I may not get what you're responding to on your end, since it looks like you're responding to audio because there's not a lot of activity there over in Rumble land. Yes, Mr. Max. Bruce, Mr. Bruce.
So if we're talking about this railroad versus sandbox thing prior to talking about like Cabin Con and how that went, like it really seems like you're both saying that you prefer a sandbox style campaign. And I do to play in. Randy doesn't to run, I don't think.
No, I've not. I've become enamored of the idea. It may shock Joe. That's kind of what I'm leaning toward with Hyperborea. But I always need a place to start. So I guess I'm not inclined to go and this is where I think the Sandbox, let's lead into it. The Sandbox set campaign is tricky if you just say, I mean, am I supposed to show up and say, describe some of the town, the general features, maybe, the Lord Mayor's having trouble getting reelected because there's rumors that he's involved with the local thieves guild. There's a problem with the shipment of iron ore that's been coming down from the mountains. And then let's go. What do you guys do? Is that a Sandbox beginning where you just let it go? Or do you say, okay, guys, you've gathered at the tavern. What are you doing? That feels like it's kind of flat, right? Maybe I'm thinking of a Sandbox as that sort of game, and it's probably not.
Well, flat as far as the at the tavern, what are you guys doing? That's flat.
Yes.
It can seem like that from a player's perspective, but if the only thing that the players know about is that they're in a tavern,
right?
That's kind of odd.
Sure.
So when I think that I don't think that there's too many folks that just play without some framework at least. But I think that maybe there are some.
Yeah.
Sit down and start rolling dice to determine what's in the area for them to experience. Maybe they don't even meet at a tavern except conceptually. So when you start your hex crawl or whatever crawl, it might be all procedural, like Todd was talking about offline before we started.
That's another campaign type.
The difference between Sandbox and procedural in his mind. You want to explain that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Todd?
sure.
So I'll come back to these comments. Go ahead. I'll start.
Yeah. So a sandbox is typically a limited region that you've built at least a framework for, and then there may or may not be random rolls for random encounters or outcomes of certain events. But generally speaking, the locations are locked. And then a procedurally generated one, often you'll still start with like a town or beginning adventure just so you have somewhere to start. But then as you explore outward, you're basically randomly generating, well, what's in this direction? What's in this direction? What's in this direction? And I know like Crossface and the Basic Expert both seem to really enjoy that style of gameplay. I've played that way too. It's not my favorite only because for a long campaign, you'll often wind up with really odd results because dice have no memory.
Right.
Now, some generators are better than others as far as compensating for that, upping the odds of, say, you rolled mountains, having more mountains next to it. But yeah, personally, I prefer to start at least with maybe a regional map or something, so I can reference place names or mountains or forests or whatever, and then a starting village. I think that's a good starting point.
I can do that. I mean, honestly, when I run, so that sounds like what I do because I have a lot of things well defined, like my Black River Valley campaign. There's a lot of stuff they have yet to discover about what's going on in the region, but I have lots of detail there that they can there's stuff they can get involved in that I haven't mentioned. So procedural is more where do you prep at all in a procedural style campaign? You were saying maybe you don't.
Maybe session 1, otherwise no.
So you just let things go. But you're saying you would modify it to where you would have a home base, you would know about the geography, and then they could go explore?
Yeah, because personally, I like hex crawls, but I don't like random hex crawls. Like where we're randomly generating the geography itself.
Right.
Randomly generating what's there, like a town or a wizard tower or a lich's lair or nothing at all. That's fine. But randomly generating the geography is the thing that tends to create really odd results.
Yeah, I can see that. You could have a lake inside of a mountain range, which probably isn't good.
Yeah.
RPG has come.
You could randomly generate a wonky result, but then give it a fantastic explanation. But you don't want a bunch of that. Or some people might. but it'll be a little chaotic, I think.
A lot of good comments. RPG is Dumb says, I don't like railroads because I feel like unless it's a one shot, the GM is forcing the characters into something. They can. I like players to make all their own choices, including what they get involved with. I agree with that. And at my table, they do. Mr. Boivin clarifies further, and RPG is Dumb agrees with it. For the first session of a campaign, I usually have a plot hook, a little more directed to get things rolling, then you react. Yeah, exactly. That's what I think I do. I often have found in the past that I have this big grandiose idea of what's going to happen, and I probably have railroaded players not meaning to. I got some great kind of, we're trying to tell your own story. Not exactly. I think there's something really cool they can get involved in, but I won't say, you have to follow the big bad guy. You have to destroy the necromancer. If they're like, nope.
Right.
And Demo says, I don't like procedurally generated worlds. I'm fine with giving players choices, but random roll everything is right out for me. At that point, what the hell is the DM for? It's a little weird re-rolling everything.
Well, the response to that is they are a neutral arbiter of the rules, and then they are there to react to what the players do. They aren't to. Some people will say this. They're more the referee than story giver or storyteller, and some people want them to be a story giver or storyteller. So I think those are two ends of a potential spectrum. There might be more dimensions to it, but I think broadly speaking, referee, storyteller is what you have.
Yeah.
And then how much of each you are.
The only story I'm telling is what you make. Right now, I only want to tell the story you guys make, because I am definitely into the emergent part. Brian James says, at Randy, I think the most of us probably do a lot of the same things in our games. We just think about how we do it in a different order. We split hairs a lot about how things go, but all good. Yeah, we do. It's the thing that we do.
Yeah, some people do different things to different degrees, and that's all good, especially if the players, including the DM, are having a good time at the table. How much you railroad, how much you randomly generate, how much of how sandboxy is all. There's no strict rule on how much any of that should be, except that the table uses it in a way that is fun for them.
Right. How did you guys feel about the amount of procedural generation when you were playing with me? You could see it. I was pretty open.
Yeah. I was fine with it.
I thought it was really appropriate for what you were trying to do, which is show us the game. And at first, I'll be honest with you, I thought, man, it's just a bunch of random rolls. But then I realized what you're doing is you're giving DMs tools. So you can use as much of that as you want to. And you could easily take all those tables you had and you could adjust them to fit the way you think they should be. So
yeah.
That's great. I think it's great. And it was fun. As a DM, I loved seeing that peak on the other side. That was much appreciated. Yeah. Darth Theik says, I make a starting point, a couple of different bad guys, and end goals for the bad guys and set my players free. I tend to do more than that, though I'm not going to for Hyperborea. I've got a little booklet that's got a couple of adventures in it. I'm going to start because they can do a couple of things, and then I'm just going to see where they go. So I'm hoping to get practicing winging it again. That used to be a thing I did a lot, off the cuff.
Yeah, so you're just giving the players a starting off point, which is good. Because honestly, you kind of need a little bit. I don't want to just have the DM say, "What do you do?" and there's nothing there for me to do.
No,
because that's the same kind of problem I have with 13th Age. 13th Age asks the players to contribute more to the setting than I'm comfortable with doing as a player.
Yes.
I think it's more than is necessary. So they can when the modern gaming way of doing things is, well, why did you, or what forces brought you guys together? How did you look at that? Hey, I'm here to kick in the door and put my sword in evil's face.
Right. That's your purpose for playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't get into skullduggery and political machinations and intrigue very much. It's boring to me. So that type of play fits really well in the 13th Age.
Yeah, 13th Age is definitely. Yeah, Green Apple says, is there a link to DM Blackwall's tools? I believe he answered him in the chat.
I did, yes.
Yeah, it was just about Green Apple. It was in regards to what is in his book. So, yeah, he's expecting to have that up. What did you say to him? A Labor Day weekend on Big Geek Emporium. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm basically just waiting on contractors. I heard from our editor today. She's done, so I'll be meeting with her tomorrow, I think, to pay her, go through the last couple of changes, and then we'll just be waiting on the layout person. And if the layout person doesn't come through, then I get to learn how to do layout, which will be exciting.
Yay!
That's what I'm concerned about, because my adventure's ready. I need to figure layout, and I think I may have to find somebody to do it for me because I'm not sure what I'm doing. I think the art together with the.
Yeah, I think the person I found will do a good job. I know a guy she's done a couple of books for, so I think it'll be fine. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think that'll be fun. And then again, waiting on other people really for the other game or for the advanced version. I've got like some setting content to write and like a weather table and some random encounter tables. But otherwise, that's basically done. I pretty much have to wait on artwork.
Yeah. I think Full Metal Dragon was responding to your comment, Joe. He said 13th Age mentions that, but nothing in the game book actually forces you to GM the game that way. In what way? Maybe I missed it. Remind me. You were saying that 13th Age.
I was saying about how when you're doing the relationship points, when you're using relationship die, you can just default to whatever. Well, the result of the relationships are kind of in the hands of the DM, right? The result. I have X relationship points with, let's say, the Emperor, and I want to use them, and then the DM has to respond to that and tell you how you can. But much of that does rely on the players influencing. I mean, that's one way you can use them. I guess you don't have to. The DM can just say, oh, you have 3 positive relationship points with the Emperor. Here's a magic item at the beginning of your adventure in hopes that you will do well for the Emperor. That's a big way that they did that in a lot of modules, from what I could tell.
Yeah.
The suggestions for using that.
Yeah, playing that in CabinCon this year, I'm really intrigued at playing 13th Age minus all the relationship points altogether.
So I guess you don't have to do it that way, but when you're asked those questions by the DM,
yes,
that's when I feel forced into, as a player, a world building scenario off the cuff, which is hard. Is a hard sell.
It is. Well, honestly, I think it's. Maybe it's just I'm really not being biased. As a DM, I have no trouble with that. When I'm a player in 13th Age, or somebody asks me to come up with some world building piece off the cuff, I'm usually pretty good at it.
Right.
That's because I've done this forever. Whereas you haven't. I think most players who don't DM, that's a harder challenge for them. Even if they're
it's
good.
Not like I can't come up some wonky thing off the top of my head.
Well, that's the key.
My concern is stepping on the DM's toes or creating something that's not appropriate for the setting.
Correct.
Or something like that.
And you got to go. My default is go low end. Don't go crazy. Just give a little bit. Yeah. Getting off topic, but Patrick Demo says the only thing I don't like, is the relationship point stuff is often used by players as a win button. Yeah, that's been something we've done. We've got to stop it.
I've been playing around with something like that for the superhero game I'm working on, and in playtesting, I think as you guys are talking about it now, I think what I learned is I would want to narrow the use to a specific type of thing. For example, if you are playing someone in a superhero game who's just super wealthy and that's like something cool about you, I don't know, like Batman, maybe you could use a similar token system, but he can only use it to buy expensive things. So like you narrow the use substantially rather than introducing any narrative element you want. It's just no, only these things, only these kinds of things is what you can introduce. And I think that could work. And then for some other super powered hero, like someone with super strength, maybe they could use theirs to lift something ridiculous that they couldn't normally lift.
Oh yeah, I think that's good. And so you're trying to give some guidelines and limitations. I mean, it's just like we've talked about here before. Your best creativity is not in like a full, or even maybe it's Max at Legion of Myth has said, it's a fantasy, do whatever you want. That leads to some silliness. If you have a rules, your box, I mean, even sandboxes should have walls. And in those walls, you can be creative. And if you limit people down to a smaller scope, that can work better. I think I agree with you, D and Blackwall, for sure. Limit their choices, then they can be creative within those choices.
Yeah.
Right. So I just want to let folks know, we've got 27 people on YouTube.
Nice.
Well, 27 people here in StreamYard, 26 on YouTube, 1 in Twitch, and 22 over in Rumble.
Whoa, look at that. Right on. Tunka Todd testing.
Tunka Todd's over there. Thank you, Mr. Tunka Todd, for reminding people to like.
Yeah, he's the man, dude. That's cool. I can't see the Twitch people. Oh, because I'm not on Twitch. Doy. I can't just click that little tab. Duh.
So, yeah. It's great. I'm glad people have responded. That's awesome. I think that that must be the most we've had for initial showing on anything, anywhere. So
they don't entertain. Keep going. We'll lose them.
Do some juggling.
Do something. Gargle salt water or eat peanut butter.
Do some fake arm wrestling.
Oh, so what about you, Dan Blackwall? What would you if you would describe if you're running a campaign? Where does yours fit in this procedural sandbox railroad business?
Sorry, I was away for a sec. What was that?
Sorry, I don't care what you say, Randy. You're dumb. That's okay. No, I was saying for your campaign, would you say if you're running a campaign, say you're running this through, if Joe and I are a regular player in a Horde Wars campaign, would you describe most of your campaigns as sandboxy, railroad, procedure mixture?
Oh, I would describe most of them as sandbox, but not high detailed. So like I have, a handful of key locations in a given country and like a description of some others, so that like if you go there, I have some stuff ready to run, and I have a general feel for the culture and history and weird laws and this kind of stuff, or unique, cool geographic features. And then I have typically a more detailed view of wherever your starting area is, because players, at least at low level, tend to not travel quite as far.
Well, I have to say that if the play over the weekend is any indication of what your typical campaign setting is like, you hate players or characters because you're in a town with 4 buildings and, well, I wouldn't say no resources. They kept us well stocked.
Yeah.
And we could do pretty much what we want. It just has the appearance of a low rent town surrounded by the most high concentration of super dangerous things ever, but it's still there.
Yes.
Which is cool, but different.
Well, I wanted to initially do a points of light setting, and so what Nate and I wind up doing is we set up a points of light setting for the Horde Wars basic, and then in advanced you get to explore more of the world. Now we have some of that material in basic, like there's the different languages, descriptions of the countries, and this kind of thing, but you'll have like actual adventuring locations for each of those in Horde Wars Advanced. And so and there, if you want to play like a geopolitical game, or you want to play a noble house, or I don't know, members of an assassin's guild, both of which I've run in the last year, by the way. with that rule set, yeah, they've that works just fine too. But if you want to just kind of, play a group who's gonna kick in the door and fight dangerous things, I think that location works well, actually.
Yeah,
It did. And I had a character just randomly perfectly suited for my style of play, which is kill the monsters, because its initial suite of things it can do was best suited for fighting.
Oh gosh.
The fighting monsters as opposed to animals or people, or I don't know what the other grouping is.
Yeah,
Monsters, humanoids, or human type, people, and then what was the other one?
Oh yeah, so it was just monsters, beasts,
Animals.
and characters.
Yep.
So those are the only groupings.
As far as like the basic weapon bonuses, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We also have weapons that do extra damage against the wounded, for example.
Right.
So if you're already wounded, they hurt more, or weapons that do extra damage if it's daytime or nighttime, or because they're just really big. We also have ones that whenever you crit, you gain hit points.
Vampiric.
Yes. And a bunch of other ones. We got one that can like shatter weapons. One of the players over the weekend actually got one of the relic artifacts, and so he got a weapon that he could summon into his hands with a teleportation.
Okay.
From anywhere, which is
like a drum mage instant summons, but it's designed like all the other powers with very limited use, once a day or once a day.
Oh no, that one's unlimited.
That's an unlimited one.
That's an unlimited one on that weapon.
Nice.
Oh, it's the weapon. Okay.
On the weapon. Yeah. So there's some ridiculous things you can do with that.
I have to admit, I got a little concerned. I told Joe when we left, I was like, I'm just worried that the main game may have 1.5 million, material types and against this creature and that creature. But if it's just beast monster, well, it's beast monsters and characters. So that's
right.
Okay. That's limited. That's good. That's not too much.
Yeah, our original design did do that, and then we really narrowed it down just to the 3.
Yeah, you did. What about you, Joe? I know you don't run much. I bet your answer is Sandbox, though, right? If you were going to run a campaign, you would Sandbox.
Yeah, probably because it's low. You make it as low prep as you want. You can use the generators. You can set up. You can prep things in a way that is more of the lazy dungeon master style, where you have a bunch of random tables you can get anywhere on the internet and cobble them together.
Yeah.
But then as you think of interesting things you would like to run, you can insert those within those random tables, either with a set of cards that has them written out, which is probably the preferable way to do, or digitally. So one way or the other, or notebook, something like that.
Yeah, I have to admit, Joe's run a few games at Cabin Con, and it's made me think. I've been a little envious at how he runs that, but I think there's, and I know I got to loosen up some, because I'm a bit of a crazy prepper.
Well, I think
when it comes to DM's game,
one of the reasons why this is a bit of a contention among players. Hopefully not too much, because really these are all just tools in the DM toolbox. Right. They're not don't do this and do this. They're all tools. I think the main contention is how much that the DM is married to whatever novella he's trying to play out. So if he doesn't care one way or the other, then you're going to have a good time.
My preparation, well, it's funny because Brian James says here, and thanks for commenting, bud. He says, Joe Harden, I've played in DM Blackwall's game over the last few months. I really like the type of sandbox that he runs. He's well prepared for whatever the players try to do and knows the lore. I would agree with that, from what I've seen at Cabin Con. And I think that's part of I probably prepare more now story and setting than I do encounters. I tend to let the game rules do the encounters, unless I think of some particular foe or some unique power I want to give a creature, some unique creature. Just I used to be, especially in 3rd edition, I was always massaging the stats, and now I'm not inclined to play that game anymore. The monsters do what they do, and the players kick their butts. They kick their butts. If they kill the players, oh well, tough luck.
Yeah, there's a lot of DMs that get butt hurt over encounters being kicked, just manhandled by the players. They have to win that encounter for some reason or another.
I have to admit, I've been dissatisfied when a certain encounter was less challenging than I had hoped, but I wouldn't be like, I'm mad. I'm like, that was weaker than I thought. Or heck, sometimes they really, and I've told players, I'm like, you guys, just like with the dragon encounter, as DM Blackwall said for you all, that could have gone badly. That could have been a very different situation. And sometimes that's cool.
Well, expectations like that you really shouldn't be too married to them, because the vagary of the dice can change those expectations in a heartbeat. Like with the 2, when I thought we were dead, 3 actually, 3 different spots. 2 were together. There were vampires, and one was a weaker vampire, but I still thought we were all meat.
Yeah,
but we weren't. And then the boss vampire showed up, and the DM rolled really crappy, and we rolled really.
You got real lucky, but
yes,
but I think that's one of the fun things about this kind of game. It's also why I roll openly.
Yes,
you knew I wasn't taking it easy on you. I was trying to kill you.
Sure, you should. In any style,
even when you directed all of that creature's attacks against one of the characters, he still rolled for crap and still didn't kill the character, which is unbelievable. But that's the way it worked out.
Oh yeah, the dude should have. Yeah, he should have taken that character out. I think I swung at him 5 times that turn.
Wow, and you missed.
Yeah, for 4 12-sided dice of damage per swing.
Oh my!
So one attack could make mincemeat of any of us. Just one.
Yeah. Wow, that is getting lucky. That's crazy lucky.
I think I hit once and he blocked it.
Oh.
And then the other 4 missed.
Wow.
Well, what's
Depending on the
saying?
dice,
Better to be
might have
lucky
lived
than
through
good.
1 hit.
Yeah.
Average damage on 4d12 is
26-ish.
Yeah, and only one person may have had that in all the sessions that we played over the weekend, until the very last one where I had like 30 hit points because I had advanced. 32, I think.
Really?
And,
I had 29 at 2nd level.
Right. So at that point, you could have perhaps survived his attack.
Yeah. That's because you had glutton for punishment, Randy.
Oh, okay. And
so your character had unusually high hit points because of an ability he picked.
And my first advancement, I chose hit points.
Yes.
Both. So I was kind of planning on that because I knew, and I still should. I was down multiple times in our second adventure, multiple times.
And even if 48 damage doesn't sound like a whole lot from a vampire, he could have easily crit on any of those or all of those attacks.
Oh yeah,
and it would have been so much higher. So
then it lights out.
And he didn't even need to crit. He just needed to do average damage to any one of us at any time during the fight to put us down.
So veering back on topic just for a minute before we kind of wrap this up soon. Well, I guess everybody would agree that a hard railroad where the DM literally doesn't let you do anything but what the adventure says or what his adventure is planned or whatever novel he's writing, that's bad. That's not a fun DM. That's not a fun time. Short of that, are there any other setups where, like, would you say railroads in general suck? I would never do them. Sandboxes suck. I would never do them. Procedurals suck. Are there any of those that you would categorize as bad? I would not. I think you could play any of the others however you like. You can have softer railroads. You can do theme park. They all can be fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it all depends on the DM and how railroady, how much of a conductor he wants to be, how much he wants to say, hey, you have to go along with this or the adventure fails.
Right.
Not with the adventure, but with perhaps a particular interaction. Right. NPC interaction. If they
Right.
say,
You need to say yes to this or no to that. Yeah.
Yeah, that can be kind of crazy. Or you veer off the beaten path and everything gets hazy, and the DM says, "I haven't made that." That's weird. But
yeah, I'm going to try to do my homework on Hyperborea and get comfortable with the world, but I'm not going to try to write things out and just see what you guys are interested in. And from there, I'm just going to wing it. So our Hyperborea campaign is planning to be a sandbox. I may or may not. I probably won't do lots of procedural, but I plan to use random tables, so it'll have a little bit of it.
right. So I think all of them can be done to some degree very well by a DM. Good DM is a good DM. Doesn't matter which style of these that they use.
All right, you want to tell them to do the stuff?
Yes. Hey, if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe. Let me throw up our horns, so to speak.
Welcome horns.
Let's see. How long does it take it to show up in the various? There it finally showed up on YouTube. Oh, and Rumble. So there's kind of a delay. But yeah, subscribe if you haven't already.
Oh, cool.
Check your subscription status because at least YouTube likes to unsubscribe you
That's so weird.
for some reason. So check your subscription status. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Like and share, comment. All these things help us on the various platforms. So, and welcome all the Rumble, YouTube, and Twitch folks. I think we're still, let's see if, we still have one person over on Twitch. But yeah, thanks to all of you for showing up today. All together, unless some of you are well, I am. I'm looking in more than one place. But I need to. Be nice to discount the folks that are doing that, but we wouldn't be able to do that. But if you are doing that, I appreciate it. It helps the channel out some, I'm sure. But if we add them all together, we've got close to 50 folks watching at one time, which is cool.
Is Mar Hoffman on Twitch? He's often on Twitch.
Yes. Well, I won't say he's usually the one that is.
He's our dude, man. He's our dude on Twitch. Cool.
Keep it up, Randy. Brother. Do you see Brian's comment there?
Oh, I may have missed it. I took glutton for punishment on my character. I survived an attack that. Oh wow, right on. I'm glad I had that. Cool, Brian.
Yeah, they got one-shotted by a siren snail.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Whole party went down except for his character in one attack. They didn't all wind up dying. He kind of snuck around and saved some of them, but
saved the day. Here's my point of view. If the rest of the player can't take it, sorry about your luck. I'm out. You guys are too weak to adventure with me.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Get more hit points. Get good.
The final advancement for the weekend. So if I ever play this character again, he made it to 6th level, and that's when he took glutton for punishment, because there was one of these one scenario where he went down twice in the same one.
Well,
I believe it was twice.
I went down at least 3 times in the fight with the zombies. So
it just matches my style of play, being up in front and kicking evil's butt. So I finally took it, and with that compared, in addition to the regular level hit points, he now has 40, which is pretty dang good.
Yes. Yeah, I kind of like their hit point progression. You only get is it 2 DM Blackwall every level?
2, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. It makes things a little flatter and more fun, and you get more mileage out of the monsters.
Can you take glutton for punishment more than once?
You can, but then you're giving up other choices, like getting additional skills, getting better to hit, doing extra damage. I mean, you can just build a tank, but then that's all you'll be good at.
You're a one-trick pony.
Hit punch, and that's it. All right. Well, why don't we? Are you ready to slide into the Cabin Con discussion, Joseph?
We're ready to what? Go on to the next
Cabin Con
stage.
Yeah.
All right. Since we've been jumping all around a bit. We didn't. What type is our Hyperborea game going to be? Did you already answer that?
Yeah, I think I did. I think I'm going to do we're going to try Sandbox. I'm going to try to loosen up my control, but I'm going to definitely do a study of the book and the DM's book. I just got that back from Patrick over the weekend. I'm going to study that closely. I've already read the player's guide. I want to try a different approach, less effort on the. See if I can just kind of wing it a little more. That's
wing it. Yeah, I remember you saying that now. Yeah.
That's kind of what I
All
want
right.
to do.
So this past weekend, moving on to a new topic, we had Cabin Con. So everybody who's here, just dying to hear how Cabin Con went. It went awesome, but I would like to change it up and ask DM. Did you guys hear that? Mark? That's you can see her. You can see her right here.
That is a high. Yeah, I see her little head. The plot hound plotting her revenge.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, "Hey, DM Blackwall, this was your first attendance at Cabin Con. Why don't you shush? Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody what you thought of it? You and Randy can talk about it, and I can get this squirrely dog outside because she's begging me."
Yeah, start off being
sure. So I had a blast. I know Nate did too. We basically it was 3 days of 3 gaming sessions each, and hanging out. Like we had a campfire one night. Another night we did a shared meal and this kind of thing. So yeah, a lot of fun. Got to meet some interesting people. Got to play. I think I played with over half the guys there.
Right on.
Probably about 3/4. And so I got about 36 hours of gaming in like 3 days, and then I was running games about 2/3 of that and playing the other third.
Yeah, you were running quite a bit.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, so you did you and Nathan both got to play some then? Some games? Yeah, what games did you guys get into?
I wound up playing in a Fallout game, and I wound up playing in a it's going to come to me. Harrison Ford movie, Dark Future. Trying to think of the name.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Yeah, I played in Blade Runner. And then I listened, as you know, to probably about 2 or 3 hours of 13th Age as well. I wasn't in time to join in, but I popped over and listened to you guys.
What was your opinion just watching? Do you think the game would be something you might like or not?
13th Age, I was reading through the book a bit, and I think if I was going to play it, I would probably heavily reflavor some of their rules.
Sure.
Not the mechanics themselves, but the names and the assumptions they're making, because it's like a really specific setting.
Yes, it is.
And they let's just say those game designers really don't like Crusaders.
No, they don't. Well, in particular, one of them is a devout atheist, I believe. So he probably doesn't care much for deities at all. So
yeah. So there's some interesting historical anomalies in there.
Yeah, they do have an icon called the Crusader, though.
Oh, I know. I read it.
Yeah. So, but that's a game I like for simple pick up and play, quick adventures. And plus, I have a campaign I've been running for a few years at Cabin Con. Did you think that you think you gamed enough over the weekend? You didn't feel like you were sitting around twiddling your thumbs too much?
No, I had fun. I think of the games I played in and watched, I probably enjoyed Blade Runner the best. That was fun. Yeah. It's kind of a murder mystery type thing.
Yeah, it was run by our buddy Tim, and he's really good. And I think Free League has some pretty innovative mechanics in several settings that are pretty cool. So yeah, I think they're a kind of a cool thing. There was a lot of good buzz about your game. I mean, everybody that played enjoyed it. We were talking about your game outside of the game, and it got us motivated to try to get a more. We were talking about my friend Philip wanted us to really get started with another campaign where everybody that wants to be a part of a Cabin Con campaign where you only play the characters at Cabin Con. And
Yeah.
so we talked about that a little bit. There's the culprit himself. Tim Scott says he's glad you enjoyed the Blade Runner. He ran like a bit of a demon. He was running pretty hard.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, that was really fun. Oh yeah, thanks for the compliment, man. The thing I really liked about Blade Runner, I think, was it was some innovative dice mechanics. It was a lot like, I think, the Alien RPG.
Mhm.
But also it was really it was fun watching Tim's reaction to me playing a corrupt cop.
Really?
I don't know if he knew what to do with me.
Oh, he probably just thought it was fun. He's probably used to just us, and you might have brought in, and a new player always brings in a new spin to things, and it's fun to have new players. They always do stuff you don't expect. So was it worth the cost and the time?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
Maybe be a little different for a long out of state journey, but
Sure.
but yeah, no, I think that was well worth it.
It was only about a 3-hour. Was it a 3-hour drive for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to doing that next year. I know Nate is too.
Excellent. We want you back. That'll be cool. Yeah, I didn't get any filming done. I was supposed to film at Cabin Con, and to be honest with you, the internet made me nervous. But honestly, I was just sidetracked. I played more than I thought I would. I had all these games prepared. I ran a third of a Deadlands game, and I had to cut it short because you know what? Had I run that thing, it would have been all day. I think it would have been 3 slots. I am not good at gauging the length of my adventures. I always think I can get more in than I can. The 13th Age games, however, I got figured out pretty well. I kind of know how they play out. Their rhythm is pretty predictable.
Well, yeah, I had that happen with because you were in the game after one of the ones I ran, and I ran almost up to the start time of the next one.
Yeah, you did. Did you have a time to get a drink or eat or anything?
I think I refilled my water. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's because it was essentially a 2-part adventure I ran in one sitting.
Okay.
Because the players basically picked an adventure where they tried to survive the journey down to this Crusader outpost to get the quest from the Crusaders that they'd heard about to go scout out an enemy castle, come back and report it. And then part of the payout from the Crusaders, in addition to some money, was the location of a dragon cave.
Oh.
And so they decided to go take on the dragon the same play session.
Wow. Okay. And so you said, okay, then. Your thought was they were just going to pocket that and say sometime in the future, like in a campaign, you wouldn't expect your lower level characters to be like gung ho to fight a dragon.
Oh, sure, I would.
Oh, you would? Okay.
I would. I just wouldn't have put them against that dragon, but I had them roll randomly, and they rolled the most dangerous one of the ones in Horde Wars Basic.
Oh, wow. And you said, oh, well, sorry about your luck.
Yep.
They turned out to be super lucky. That's pretty cool. So anyway,
well, they were also very clever, right? Like they took the time to sneak up near the dragon's lair. They waited for days watching its habits.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They snuck in when it was gone, and they'd kind of figured out what its schedule was. And then dealt with some of the problems in the lair, and then waited in ambush for it to return.
Oh, cool.
Like there was some smart thinking there. And then one of the players made a really good tactical choice that allowed them to negate one of the dragon's actions because they stunned it.
Oh, cool.
And then the other thing they did is that, in addition to an ambush round, is they managed to win initiative. So they had almost 2 full turns of play each before the dragon even got to act.
Oh, wow.
So they had basically the best case scenario, and they still almost all died.
Now, did they? Yeah. So so you rolled poorly. They had a good plan.
Yeah.
Did they get spoils of war? Did they get a lot of treasure?
They did, because it was essentially 2 different missions. They got to roll twice on the hard difficulty table.
Cool. Well, that's really good. Did they all end up getting so when you ran I don't know, we got a couple of magic items on the second adventure. That was kind of the special materials. That's not technically magic, right? The special materials is not magic.
the special materials like silver or bronze aren't magic, but you guys did get some magic items as well.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like Trent's character got some golden chainmail.
yes, that was nice.
Yeah.
So did you was it what you expected? What were you expecting at CabinCon? Did you have any kind of preconceived notions, or were you at least you think I think it's going to be like this, or did it surprise you? Was it what you expected? I mean,
no, it was pretty much what I expected. I was surprised about the stairs up to the big house, but that was fine.
Yeah, it was pretty steep, weren't they?
Yeah.
That's an unfortunate. Well, we can't do much about that. So
yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, the plumbing there is interesting.
Okay. Did you have some troubles?
I had to clean out that shower twice, I think.
Oh wow. Yeah. I think the big house. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, just because somebody before me with I think a lot of hair.
one of our what do they call them? Neck beards.
Yeah. And I did just a really minimal amount because it's not my place. It's not my job to do it actually. But
sure, no. But we don't get there's no maid service while we're there, never has been.
Yeah.
You're expected to take care of stuff. We got a few people. I would comment that I don't know who did. I thought there were places that could have been done a little better, especially in the house. Some people didn't clean up as well as they should have after themselves. Most of the rooms were clean. I stayed a little bit till the end and was messing with stuff. Yeah, we have plumbing, Cal. Cal says, do you have plumbing? Yes, we do. We do not rough it at all. It's not that kind of we did one the first year we did. We were in dirt floor cabins the first year. And I was telling Cal earlier, the second year, we had kind of a posh place. It was weirdly shiny.
They had just put shellac or whatever all over the walls. It was a log cabin, and it was so shiny, but you can smell whatever they used to. Maybe it was polyurethane, but everything was shiny.
Yeah, we were talking a lot about Horde Wars and how you guys hit the mother load with the dragon. What did you think overall, Joe? What was your reflections on CabinCon 17?
Oh, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. Weather could have been a tiny bit better, but it wasn't awful. It rained a lot, so there are some low points that you had to squish through to get to the different buildings if you needed to travel between. Yes, very chilly. The first day, the temperature fluctuated so much.
Yes.
It was comfortable to be in shorts, and then all of a sudden it was like, dang, I need a jacket and sweatpants and maybe toboggan or something. And then
open a window because I'm hot.
Yeah.
It was weird, but it was a good time. We talked about, and did you get enough gaming in? You were gaming pretty hardcore.
I was. I think I played in every session every day that was available.
Right on. Brian James asked, did we take some good photos? We actually had a guy that did that. Our buddy Nick took some photos. We got a page. We need to put them up on we should put them up on Biggest Geekest, our website or somewhere.
I will endeavor to download them all and do something nifty with biggestgeekestpodcast.com.
I got a sip, and Tim Scott said beer was good. I hardly had any to take home. Tim often makes a brew for CabinCon. This one was actually pretty tasty. It was definitely one that I could have drank a little of. I'm pretty squeamish when it comes to beer, but his was really pretty good. His beer in the past has been too manly for me, usually. This one tasted pretty good.
Yes, Joe is high on gaming because I haven't gotten much gaming in the last few months due to a lot of working either at work or on various projects for Big Geek. So, and at home and having a relationship with my wife that I cherish. So, man can only go in so many different directions.
That's about to change, though. Him and his wife are about to break up because I'm going to make him play D&D every day. So, I hope
everything except for the breakup part.
No, she's going to be playing too.
Probably the gaming part now because you hate my wife, apparently.
No, she's going to be playing too.
Yeah.
So-
Now,
Yeah, when we play together.
Now, Joe got, I think, about 21 hours in on Horde Wars, so I think he played the most.
Yeah.
Of the guys who were there.
I had my character was the highest level character at the end of the event, as far as I could tell, because everybody was surprised every time I played. What level are you?
Yeah.
I am 5th
Well,
level. They were all like, "What?"
Joe likes when his characters can advance, he'll commit to them. But he enjoyed
Sure.
the game, I could tell.
It's a lot of. I hear people say stuff like, "I could play first level for 20 years," and I'm like, "Oh, that's boring." And then people will say, "Well, that's only if the DM's boring." But advancement's always been part of this hobby, so I step into that. I embrace. That's the word I'm looking for. I embrace advancement.
Right on. Mr. Boivin asked, do you do cabin stuff while at the cabin? I'm assuming that means like wilderness type stuff. We don't hunt, we don't fish.
Chopping wood.
We got to chop wood. We got a beautiful lake. We bring wood that's already been chopped. We don't do any of that stuff, which is a shame. I mean, but honestly, when we come for Cabin Con, all we're thinking is gaming. Like Patrick says here, he's had no gaming for 6 months. Cabin Con was oasis. Patrick had a good time. That was good to see Patrick smiling and enjoying himself. He's had a hard way to go. Tim Scott says, if I drank that alcohol, I would have been manly because I had 8% for beer. It was an ale, or was it an ale? I forgot what it was. I don't know all the terminology. He's the brewer, so I'll leave it to him.
It is a liquid that has alcohol in it. Don't ask me either. I'm not a beer drinker, so.
Yeah. Cal's saying he hasn't gamed for 3 years, not TTRPGs. Man, all those sweet minis you have. I think Cabin Con, I think we're getting older though. I mean, I tried to take a nap but couldn't. I was a little more wired, but I noticed quite a few nappers, especially the first day. I think people were tired, and relaxation was key initially. And we don't kind of hit our stride till I think Friday evening and then Saturday. Seems like that's been.
This is our 17th Cabin Con.
Yep.
We didn't start it till most of us were in our late 30s, early 40s.
Oh, 17 years ago. So, yeah.
38?
Yeah.
Because I'm 50. Oh, no, 39.
56.
I must have been 39. My
You
wife reminded me because I said I'm 55, and she said, "No, you're 56." Ha ha ha. So
we heavy Scottish ale. There you go.
Scottish ale. That doesn't tell me anything.
It was pretty good. It was really pretty good. And like I told Tim, I like him and I appreciate what he does, but I'll always try his beer. But this is the first one I can say I fully liked. So
yeah. So we're older, so our pace is a little slower.
It is. And that's why I think we always have that talk of we should do more. And I think Cabin Con 20, we got to look at the possibility of having at least one more night, if not something really, really special. I think we should do something special. It shouldn't just be a regular Cabin Con. I mean, it should be do the regular fun stuff, but maybe extend it a night or two. We should do something. So
yeah,
we'll figure it out. We got a couple years to figure that out. So,
but I think DM Blackwall Todd was trying to get me to say more about Horde Wars, perhaps.
Yeah, keep going. You need to tell.
I was trying to get what you thought of the different adventures because you played in the most. I think Randy played in some different ones than you did. Like I don't think you were in the zombie one.
No.
And so
no.
Randy had like a clutch moment in that where he drops 6 zombies, I think it was.
Yeah, baby.
With a pair of arrows, and then basically cleared the path for him and the priest to get to their ally who was down. Otherwise, that guy was dead.
And then we went down, and I went down, and then my priest, your character, John was playing the same character you were playing. He went down, then I went down, he went down, but we ended up surviving. It was close though; it was a nail biter.
So yeah, I really enjoyed all of them. I was really shocked that we even survived because there was no way to run from the vampires. Really,
that's true.
That was just going to delay whatever was going to happen. The dragon, we just went up there and decided to do it. So running, I guess we probably couldn't have run from the dragon either if things had gone poorly for us.
Not running, since you decided to fight him from inside of his cave. No,
correct. It would have been difficult to run past him we could have run deeper in, but still, that would have been the same kind of delaying the inevitable had we decided to do that. But it was really pleasing. I think I'm someone who doesn't particularly care for Zero to Hero anymore. I'll play it and I'll have fun with it, but it's not my preferred way to go. In Horde Wars, you're not a zero. I mean, you have level 1, but you're not a zero. You're competent at level 1. Very confident.
Soon as I played the game for 10 minutes, I was like, Joe's going to like this. And I think Joe played it first. Joe played it first. He goes, I think it's pretty cool. I'm like, okay, the characters have to be competent.
They don't have to be particularly powerful, but at least competent at their jobs. And they are, for sure. And so I was pleased with that. And the different adventures were cool. We fought a variety of different types of creatures, even though they're all mostly monsters. And there's a definite power drop when you fight a monster you're not geared for. So my character is geared for monsters. So when we went and fought beasts, I wouldn't say useless, but the difference was very stark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as long as the DM throws in curveballs here and there, you're not going to be you're not going to be that powerful. You're not going to seem as powerful as you do against what you're really geared for, like for my character. So he seemed really boss until we fought the beasts. And then almost all the other people in the party were like, yeah, I can do the beasts really easy. Okay, I'm dinking them. Dink, dink, dink. It wasn't really doing that much damage.
Yeah. Now that we're loaded, like my character is loaded with, I have silver, bronze, and black forged item. So I have all 3 pieces of special material now. I guess from here on out, the only way to go up is with magic goodies, which is kind of cool. Yeah, that's cool.
And specifically enchanted, because I guess you have enchanted and mercurial, which is you can't do both.
Right. So when you roll a magic weapon, most of the time you're going to find one that is either blessed, enchanted, or mercurial.
And those are exclusive. Those are mutually exclusive from each other.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And so a blessed weapon basically gives you 5th edition advantage.
Oh, okay.
Okay. On each attack.
That's cool.
A mercurial weapon, when you take the attack action, lets you swing an extra time. And then an enchanted weapon ignores absorption and displacement. And that's really powerful against dragons, or against crusaders, or against sorcerers, or anyone who protects themselves with magic. For example, Magic Shield basically gives a target damage immunity till the end of your next turn, but an enchanted weapon can cut right through it because it's an absorption effect.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And so they beat different problems, pretty much. And then we've got an exploding table where you can essentially, if you roll a 20 in that column, get 6 other properties. They're just very rare, which could then potentially have one of the 3 I listed, or you could roll a 20 again and wind up with just 2 of the special properties. I've actually seen it happen.
Wow, a mercurial and blast weapon, huh?
So in this case, these are things like vampiric, or like a teleporting weapon, or like a weapon that will shatter an enemy's shield or weapon whenever it crits, which is kind of hilarious against opponents with artifact weapons.
Oh,
You're breaking the treasure then, so you want to be careful when you swing it.
Yeah.
And we got a few like that, and so you can get a variety of weapons, and we got different elemental types of damage you can get on the magic weapons, and then some of them are just plain. They do the normal damage, but have one of those properties.
So we're looking at Horde Wars in September, the basic game on BGE probably.
Yeah.
All right, that's so exciting. That's cool. What did you think? Man, this might be more a question for Joe, and if you have opinion on it, that's great. What did you think of the dice grab, and the potential for 3D minis for sale, and our new slush fund to have money to do stuff and buy things and pay for stuff for CabinCon? What do you think?
I like that. I got two sets of dice, and my wife is now in possession of one of them.
Uh-oh, you'll never see it again.
Well, no, I purposely, I said, hey, do you want one of these? And she said, yeah. And she took I had a green one and a like blood red kind of modeled. Both of them had kind of a modeled effect, and she took one of them, which was cool.
Yeah, good. Yeah,
so there's a couple. It's a new way to contribute to CabinCon.
Cool. Did you participate in any of that, DM Blackwall?
No, but I think I will next year. I had actually thought to bring some dice up, but I didn't have room in my bag. But I've got some that was left over from a convention we did last year, and I've got, I don't know, 20 dice sets or something that I could have brought, and
cool.
I'll probably do that. And then I was coordinating a little bit with Nick and Ryan. About trying to do some stuff with 3D miniatures as well.
Cool. Oh, bless you. It was nice. Nick did the pictures, and Greg T is running the slush fund thing. It was his idea. I'm going to bring some games to sell it cheap for people. Got some that I want to get rid of. Joe and I both have the same game we want to get rid of.
Yeah,
we may both bring the same book. So, but yeah, I think it'll be nice to have money to, get more of those dividers. Perhaps if we get enough money one day to have a night catered, that would be kind of cool. If we saved it up, had enough for catering.
Right.
That suggestion was well supported. A lot of people thought that was good.
Yeah, we could always just save it up and have a big catering night. Maybe CabinCon 20, we save a bunch of that money. We could just have a big night and all the food could be brought in, and we'd be able.
What if the whole weekend was catered?
That would be cool.
Wow, that would be expensive, but it could be awesome.
That would be special.
One thing I did want to ask: how did you guys feel after trying the game with about the name? My game.
What was? Ask that again, please.
So after trying out the game, how do you feel about the appropriateness of the title? Because it's meant for you to fight hordes of monsters.
I was going to say we're fighting lots of monsters. Was that the idea? Because
that's the idea.
If that's the case, then right on, dude. You nailed it.
Yeah, especially when it's. I mean, hordes of dragons might happen at the upper end of the game,
right?
But we definitely had the hordes with the typical ones that are like goblins and kobolds and that kind of thing, and that worked out really well. And they only got overwhelming when bad rolls started coming out. Because then you were like, holy crap, I'm not rolling really well, but there's 15 of these things, and ouch time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
that's a good name.
Good. I did run an adventure about a month ago for some players where they fought a tag team of dragons, and oh man,
wow,
they had a rough time with that fight. Because one of the dragons had the ability to basically turn the air toxic, and so you start the fight unable to breathe.
Yeah. I think isn't that toxic? You have a name for a damage type that's basically poison.
Oh yeah, but I mean in this case it was actually like volcanic fumes. Like this is a magma creature, and so it's a thing he can do.
So you have to hold your breath while fighting. That's got to be fun.
Yeah.
Tim Scott asked to have a horde of vampire lords in the next combat.
Maybe at higher level.
Right. Yeah, I can't wait to see the full book, but I mean the basics sounds like fun too. I'll be sure to pick that up. After CabinCon, it's for me, I always draw inspiration from CabinCon. It motivates me. It pushes me. It always makes me. I always have the got to start a campaign feeling, right? We got to start a campaign. What about either one of you? I know this is Dan Blackwall's first, but what about you, Joe? What does Cabin Con? Does it do anything for you at the end? Does it motivate you in any way? Does it inspire you in any way? Or is it just
Well, I tell you what it does, what it's been doing, it's been scratching my gaming itch.
Gotcha.
So I imagine if I got more gaming in between, it would serve as an inspiration for further like creative endeavors. But having the Horde Wars guys there, and playing a couple of new games or seeing a couple of new games, that can be where the inspiration comes in. Because if you're playing the same games all the time, then you're just playing what you know and what you like, and it's not necessarily all that inspiring. But I played Fallout, and got me thinking about that kind of game and what improvements I'd make on the Fallout system, which there are a few.
Right.
Like it has too much of the video game bleed over into the RPG, into the tabletop. Because let's say this situation happened. We beat down a bunch of dudes that had armor on and weapons. And then instead of just, and this might be a misunderstanding on the part of the DM, but what ended up happening is we had to roll randomly for what was dropped. Like you would in an RPG, it would be a random determination, and you wouldn't worry about much of that. But in a tabletop game, and you're facing down a bunch of dudes in armor, you're going to expect that they got some armor for you. But they had one piece among 5 combatants that we ended up collecting, which is kind of underwhelming.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a bunch of ammo, which that was cool. And but still was kind of a random determination. We ended up rolling to see how much ammo they had instead of the DM adding up what was left over. So, I mean, some people are probably going to be okay with that, because if every time you beat a bunch of raiders is what they were, and super mutants, if every time you fight them, you get their stuff that they leave behind, you're just going to have a big wagon full of crap. So maybe that's their way to compensate for that. And I know in previous games that Randy has run, we've talked about this issue and tried to figure out ways for that not to be a thing. Because you are going to have, like if you fight a bunch of goblins, we didn't end up in Horde Wars, we didn't end up getting a weapon and a set of armor from each of the goblins.
Right.
We still ended up rolling to see what was there, but it just seemed better.
Well, that, and because you didn't really want what the goblins had, if you wanted to pick up their knives, I mean, go for it, but that's not really worth anything.
Right, and it might not be weapons that we could wield very well. My character had knives as a thing, so
one of the groups did pick up arrows from the goblins. Like they were like, oh yeah, we'll get that. But really, the treasure hoard is where it's at. Like we do have some content that neither of the groups ran into. Like there was a pit trap in their lair, but both groups,
we didn't go in that room. Yeah,
right. Both groups didn't go in the room.
I got a little aggravated with my group because all the screaming was going on in the one room, and I wanted them to go in there and get those people, and they were just like, "No, we saw the Goblin King. We better go get him first." And I'm like,
yeah.
Okay. And then actually, I didn't say okay. I said no. Remember, I ended up pulling aggro. I went in there and I said, if we leave them alone, they would have kept eating people. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. So
right.
Yeah, we lost one as it was.
Hey, we didn't lose any.
Well, you guys stink. You guys.
So what was in that pit trap? Was there stuff we could have found?
No, but there was, in the same room, there was basically the goblin's personal possessions.
Oh, so there could have been more to have been gleaned. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I think I was better. So we could have done both. We could have said, yeah, those goblins had weapons and armor. We want those in addition to the rolls.
Correct.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
Mhm.
I didn't even think about it with them because when I'm in D&D mode, goblins generally goblins and kobolds have substandard gear. So it's usually not worth taking. Plus, it doesn't fit.
And it wouldn't be worth taking if you were going to like sell it. But if you guys just wanted an extra knife or some extra arrows, you could have picked that up.
And if you like, some people like to start you with naked in the forest. That's kind of a style. Then if end up somehow beating the goblins,
I did a scenario where the players were chained up in a dungeon, and basically naked, with a couple NPCs, and they watch an NPC get executed, and then one of them's next, and they had to decide what to do. I have run that as a scenario. That's not normally how I run games, but it's interesting.
That would be a good cabin con.
That would also be a good campaign starter.
It'd be a good campaign starter. I think it still would be a good convention game too.
For sure.
Yeah. Because you have to be creative and try to like get out of the restraints quickly, or you're going to die.
Right. Yeah. So you see some, if you've playing, that's what convention gaming can do for you, is playing in different systems. That can be inspirational or get your creative juices going, thinking about your own stuff.
Yeah, I love having other DMs run games. That's usually at CabinCon. That's what I do. I get inspired by other people. Our buddy Dave ran a 13th Age game. Joe joined the second half of it on Friday morning, but you missed the real unique part. He created a very simple card game that played into the story. It was like a casino royale adventure, and it was pretty neat. And he themed it well and had different representatives of all the icons. I think Dave comes up with a lot of original ideas. He always inspires me. And I definitely loved Horde Wars. Like I said, when I was playing, I was trying to watch as much as I could, the rolls we were making. And I was seeing what I could absorb as a player. I didn't want to keep asking questions about the mechanics, but I did some, Todd. I couldn't help it because I wanted to know what's behind the screen,
Yeah.
Yes. It is good fun.
Yes, Victor Gorchev, welcome. And yes, it was great fun over the weekend. I really can't wait to get my hands on the full rules.
I know what I was
looking over the packet that Todd sent us, and I'm like, this doesn't have as much as I want.
Joe's being greedy. I do think it fits. I think what you found is something that Joe and I had been looking for. How can I say this? Even though it doesn't have the movement of 3rd edition, there are parts of your game that's very magic-y. It's got lots of moving parts for the players to build their character, but it's got an old school dangerous feel. And I think that's a big feather in your cap. I think it's a place, it can serve a place that I know Joe especially will enjoy, but so will I. I think it's something we've always looked for, something that's not as hard to complicate as 3rd edition, 3.x, any version, but enough to where the players can do a lot of stuff. But it sounds like the DM doesn't have to worry about a lot of things, which is what I like.
Yeah, thanks. It looks like you can just throw a bunch of crap at your players, not worry about what the results may be, and say, well, they're well-equipped players, or the characters are well-equipped for their, whatever, and just do it. And you can experiment a lot and not have to worry about stuff.
Yeah, our encounter difficulty philosophy is basically we put a warning label on like a half dozen monsters total. That's about it. We're like, hey, you probably shouldn't throw this one against a party until around this level at least, or they'll just all die.
Yeah,
that should have been the vampire lord.
No, that was on the dragon you fought. but you actually were, your character was in the threat level. You were appropriate to fight them.
That's why I took lead. I figured, but I took lead because my character was the highest level, and could probably do the most damage at any particular time, and he did.
Was there anyone at Cabin Con that matched Joe's character, or did he have the highest level character at the con?
He had the highest level by 1.
Ah, okay. So there was a fifth level guy or 2.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Like, for example, in the full game, we have a fiend. That's like, I think 600 hit points, and at the beginning of his turn, everyone next to him gains a level of affliction.
Oh my gosh.
And you can like teleport around the battlefield. Like, that one has a warning label. We're like, do not put this against tier 1 characters. They will definitely die.
Yeah, Fuddy1 says, friendly game designers talking about you, the new drug dealer. The first taste is free, Joe. Yeah, Joe's going to buy. He will buy it probably before I do. So, but I'll do my best as soon as it comes out. So you make sure you tell me just before you release it, so I can get it before it goes.
Oh yeah. And then our hope is to get the full version out about a year after. Like I said, we're mostly waiting on other people for that.
Gotcha.
And then my goal was to build a game that in a single volume you'd be able to play for decades.
Sweet. It sounds like I think it's going to be excellent. And I think you will be at Grand Con and weekend of Labor Day. I may be there as well. I'm hoping.
I hope you guys can make it. One, it'd be fun to trade some extra miniatures.
Yeah, that.
And 2, conventions can be a lot of fun, and it'd be good to see a friendly face and have you guys maybe come and show the new people how it's done.
Right on. We'll show those newbies.
Mostly not to be scared.
Fear nothing. Just attack all things, right, Joe?
I see. It's when you have a game system where character generation is low effort. There's no reason not to worry. There's no reason to worry about it if your character dies. It's hardly anything to make a new character, and you jump right back into the action. And I mean, little caution. You don't just mouth off your character. You don't have your character mouth off to everybody and everything.
No, you can go down fast.
Yeah, but if we still had there's a door, and everybody's waiting for everybody else to do something about the door, and it's aggravating for me.
Yeah, Joe's not good at waiting.
Yeah, our character creation process is pretty smooth. I mean, if you're not decisive or don't know what you want to build, and so you want to read every possible option, and you've never played our game before, I mean, that's going to take you longer, but that's on you.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, if you're decisive, if you're like, I want to play this kind of character, and someone knows the book, you can build a character in like 20 minutes. Less possibly, depending on your writing or copying and pasting speed.
Sure.
And then I've been able to run a whole group through character creation in, I think it was about 45 minutes with just a single copy of the rules. But I was pretty hard up on him. I was like, okay, he wants to play this. Here's what you get. Like, just let's keep it moving. But I've had it take a really long time with one dude, and I'm glad he scheduled time ahead because he was super indecisive.
Right. I think the character sheets are very easy to read and easy to figure out. And I think normally you added a lot of description. Would that normally be the case where you would suggest, or is that just you cutting and pasting and putting it into the little blank splice on the sheet? Like penetrating strike, you explained what it was. That's more for people who aren't familiar with the game, right?
Yeah, but I actually do that in the monster stat blocks too.
Okay.
So that you don't have to go look up the rules on other pages in general. So for example, if you look at our Lich stat block, the Lich has all the spells written out for you.
Very nice.
There's a word economy to your game too. It takes very few words to describe the things that your characters can do, and I imagine the monsters too. Yeah, and that's good.
That is good. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Because it really bugged me in D&D pretty much every version actually, that when a monster was using a spell, you had to go look up the spell on some other page.
Right.
And then there's likely a lot of reading to do for that spell.
Right. And also, if they have multiple spells and there's a choice and you don't know what all of them do, especially in one of the more bloated editions like 3.5 or now 5e, I mean, it's not. Yeah, I didn't like that, and so I wanted to make it really easy to run our monsters. Like, I'm pretty sure either of you, leaving aside, adventure generation and stuff, but you'd probably be good. You've played RPGs before. I'm pretty sure either of you could run our monsters now that you've kind of seen how the system works.
It doesn't seem too complex. You do have a dash of what I would call 13th age monsterisms in there, and that's good. You don't have monsters with 45 billion options like the spell lists and stuff for the DM to rifle through, especially in 3rd edition.
Oh, right.
Where a third of them were a waste of time. You give a Baylor the ability to, what does it say? Disguise self. I mean, I get in the story it could be a useful thing, but if you're fighting a Baylor, disguise self's irrelevant. He's not disguised. He's not going to slightly alter his appearance to appear to be a storm giant. I mean, it's just, it's ridiculous. And they had a lot of powers that, while not useless, just usually didn't come into play.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Yeah, Victor Gorchov says in 5e he hates spellcasting NPCs. Yeah, I mean, in general, that's always been a problem, not just 5e. 3rd edition, you have a list as long as your arm. I mean, I remember when Demogorgon was printed in the last dungeon magazine. In fact, I have it over there somewhere. He's like 2 or 3 pages long, the description of his powers. And I'm just like, how can I use this? I mean, this is too much to keep track of.
Is there a way I can screen share?
I don't know.
You hear do you see a selection at the bottom middle of the screen that says present?
Yes.
That's what screen share is. It said share, and then somebody over there at StreamYard decided that present was better somehow.
It's Presentor.
All right.
So you hit present. Yeah, I see the thing. I add, and there we go.
Here, have a look at this. This will let you see most of it.
If you could make it a little larger, it might be easy. Just a tad bit.
Zoom in some.
I can see the lich. I can see it on my screen. Yeah, fireball twice a day per tier. Chain lightning once per day. Flame gate. Yeah, and you got to.
This is spelling it out for you.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got some. There is some flatness to your. I noticed defenses are controlled quite a bit. I mean, Trent's character, his warrior, had an amazing defense, though you still hit him some.
Yes.
He had an amazing defense. I kind of thought that was going to be something like, I'm sure you have creatures with higher defenses too, because which ones were really tough to hit? Was it the Will-O-Wisps? Something had a good AC.
Yeah, they were pretty hard. Probably some of the better AC ones are like our Horned Lord, which is kind of our version of a Death Knight.
Ah.
Because a Death Knight is actually like protected intellectual property.
Yeah.
Oh, is
like
it?
Beholder and
yeah.
If you flump, you have a flump equivalent character monster in there.
Yeah.
You have a flump.
So, we have something like that. Actually, you guys saw some. Do you remember those tentacles in the ceiling?
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but flumps, if I remember correctly, were not scary. They were just kind of silly.
Oh yeah, ours are scary. They'll electrocute you and pull you up to eat you.
Yeah, these were, as our halfling found out, who got his head stuck in the hole.
Yes.
And that halfling blade master was sick. He had some cool powers.
Yeah, Rambler. I think the way that they're getting around it is using like the OGL or something to put it in other games. But yeah, Death Knight is theoretically protected intellectual property. I don't think it should be at this point, given the age of the creature.
Well, that and the fact that it's using, Death Knight is, the usage in English doesn't point it out in particular. Beholder makes more sense as IP because
displays at least.
Or illithid. Like
Yep.
you can't use illithid. You could
Right.
use maybe not Mind Flayer, but yeah, those kind of sound distinct. But Death Knight not as much because.
I agree. I think that you'd have an argument, and you might even win, but the company in question would bankrupt you
unless you had a lawyer on a retainer.
Yeah.
And a GoFundMe for the court fees, for filing fees.
Yeah, Victor, I'm pretty sure that they're dodging it with something like the OGL. I'm pretty sure that, or they're just paying to use it, because if you look it up, as far as U.S. property law is concerned, it's actually a protected term. Although,
is World of Warcraft isn't that a foreign product? Isn't that UK?
Oh, it might be. I don't actually know.
If it's UK, then they probably can get away with it that way.
World of Warcraft. Yeah. Cool. All right, man. What do you think? Are we about ready to wrap this puppy up? Do you want to talk anything about? You want to move into Random Geekland, or are we still done with Cabin Con? Basically, everybody that
we could go on for another hour.
Probably. I was going to say we had a great time, and I could talk with Tom all day long. We have a good time chatting. So,
I can say, we could probably move into a Big Geekland. Big Geek Emporium has some updates. We got physical products re-enabled on the site, and the gift card issue is being resolved as we speak. So hopefully, and the physical product thing is a little flaky, so we have to refine it. Even though it's been re-enabled, it may not work as nicely as it did before, if you can call it nice. So we have some issues to iron out for it, even though it has been re-enabled. Apart from that, you want to talk about Big Geek Con?
Yeah. So I just told Lady.
And once you're done with your side, I have something to add.
Sure. Yeah. I've been talking with Todd. Going to try to get him and his buddy at Big Geek Con if I can. It's cutting it close. They'll be at Grand Con. I hope we're at Grand Con as well. At least one of us. I'll do my best to be there at least for one day. And hopefully they'll come back if I can hook them up. I don't want them to have to struggle to get a place, but Todd and Nathan's welcome to stay at my place. Hopefully the place will be ready for you. And sign up and sign often if you're going to get a room. Again, 10 rooms for us guys gives us more space. Can double the space for the same price. So if we can get 10 people to sign up for a room at the hotel, which is the Four Winds Sheraton in Saginaw, that'll be great. Joe is still working on the tickets at big tabletop events, right?
Yes. There was some requirement that I give them my tax ID for some reason.
Okay.
So I've got to dig that out of my paperwork, because I don't know that off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And then they have to verify it, and then we can move forward. So, and I couldn't do any of that while at Cabin Con because our internet connection was crappy.
Yeah, sure. Hopefully next week or two we'll have it all figured out. Lady's already booked, dude.
Holy crap!
That's our dude, man. Lady
to go.
Domination. That's so good. Yeah, my wife and I, we got to get one. So, 4 points. I thought it was 4 wins. I typed it wrong. Thanks, Martinson. I've got it written down somewhere. You got to just show up. If you show up somewhere in Saginaw, we will game with you.
Yeah. So on the tabletop events, once I told them where it was at, the choices were narrowed down, and I clicked on 4 points. So it's all automatic over there. Mm-hmm. So that's another reason why it was good to just go with them instead of trying to get the devs to program something in at the site. So maybe next year we'll have it just the ticket sales and everything right on Big Geek Emporium. But this year I didn't want to put that. We have it at tabletop events, so the devs will be working on other things.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
What happens if you get 20 rooms sold? Is there any bonus?
I don't know. but she was real. The lady that was helping me out was very willing to work with us about getting better things. There it is. And that's the location too. That's a quick Google search. 4 Points by Sheraton Saginaw. Check it out. Give them a holler. Mention Big Geek Con. You should get the 2 queens for something like that. No link for tickets yet. The tickets are not set.
Yeah, we just said we didn't have them ready yet. So,
but yes, there are.
Hold your horses.
There are things in motion, Todd, where good things can happen. So,
okay,
more people, more fun. So yeah, we could probably handle up to, if we got it filled up, we could probably have 80 people there.
What we should do is say if we get 20,
yep,
Joe's food is free for the whole weekend.
That's an idea.
Yeah, that's probably the correct way to go.
Not a good one, but it is one. So yeah, we'll see what we can do. We'll figure some stuff out. So yeah, that lady is willing to work with us. I'm gonna give her a call soon. See, and I should keep on top of that. Check periodically. That's awesome, lady. Thank you so much. You guys are booked. I need to book my room, and yeah, let's fill it up. Come on out, man. We will game like crazy people. Like I said, I'm going to run a game for kids if there's enough kids to run. Otherwise, I will probably be running something old school. That's where I'm leaning. So that could be anything from OSE to Hyperborea to anything, something like that. So got so much old school stuff I want to play, and we'll run a game like that. I may even, make Joe really happy and run like a 15th level, high level game just so he can feel powerful. Yeah.
That's always good.
They're nice folks, and some of their workers are gamers because they were pretty pumped when I mentioned it.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's really cool when customer service people have good customer service. That's always awesome.
Yeah, even the lady that was helping me out, she was like, so can you play this without a computer? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, I've got to come see this. And I said, you need to come play it. Come sit down at the table.
Now, this is important here. Tim Scott is saying he knows 2 kids, his kids, who will be there. That's why this is why we are insisting on it being family friendly.
Yep.
I wouldn't call Cabin Con family friendly exactly.
No, that's for adults.
Yeah, but we want Big Geek Con to be family friendly. So that is it. We want our friends and whoever listens to our show or watches our show to be able to bring their kids with them, if that's what they want to do.
Yeah,
and not have to worry about mostly naked cosplayers of one stripe or another doing weird things during the convention.
Yeah,
that's sure just not going to go.
No, that ain't going to happen. Fleddy says he's going to run Rifts, brother. That's great. That makes me think I might want to run Deadlands instead. I'll do something. So
I was actually thinking about trying to get some Rifts together, but if you're going to get some Rifts together, I might do something different, or we may have 2 Rift tables.
I think
that's cool too.
Yeah, that reminds me of who else I want to try to get there. So I need to give them a holler, like soon. All right. Yeah, that's cool. I want to see everybody there. Get you a room too, Patrick. Help out. Joe need to get himself a room too. Spend that money. Spend all that fat cash he's making off a Big Geek Emporium.
Yeah,
all that big money.
We're still not taking commissions, so I'm not making anything off of it.
No, we just keep doing what we're doing. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Ain't gonna give up. So
definitely want the out of towners to feel like they can get the rooms.
Yes, sure.
Because it doesn't make sense for out of towners to get accommodations far away from the site, the game site.
That's why I chose it. There's food. It's connected. There's a Uno's right at the hotel. There's all kinds of food on the strip. So, look what Darth was going to do. He was going to show up in a Princess Leia outfit.
Well, okay, which Princess Leia outfit? Because you have the Princess Leia outfit where she's with Boba Fett. She's in the metal bikini, which is probably not great for a family-friendly event. But she's also, there's a couple outfits that are iconic for her. Her counselor outfit, or her outfit she wore when they attacked the Endor. So the moon of Endor, or was that Endor? Was the moon called Endor, or was it Endor, the planet that the moon was at?
I think it was the moon of Endor, but I'm not a Star Wars aficionado. So,
Right.
Tim Scott says Kelly's going to run a game. They might get a room too. That'll be great. I mean, there's no problem with them getting a room. I mean, because we're on off time for them, so they told me they would make more rooms available. She just set a block of 10. She says if that fills up, she'd set up 10 more. So yeah, there's no reason that can't happen. So
sounds like half of them are already going to get booked.
I hope so. That's good.
Yeah, the forest moon of Endor. That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
right on. Thank you, sir, Mr. Maliki.
So she has a few iconic looks. Only one of which is questionable for the family-friendly event.
Yeah. I think that's about it.
That sounds it.
Mr. Blackwall, thank you so much. And man, we had a heck of a time with you at Cabin Con.
Yeah, it was great being there. And glad to visit on your show. If you guys have a couple minutes afterwards, I wanted to say something privately to you. But yeah.
Secrets. We love secrets.
We accept your worship.
No, not worship.
No worship.
Adoration.
I think you're going
That's fine.
That perhaps.
Okay, good deal.
You said it a good time.
All right. All right. Mr. Todd, do you want to let people, is there a place that people can go to find out more about your stuff? Do you have a website up yet?
I mean, they can hit me up on Twitter. They can also message me directly. My email's viable, but Twitter's probably the best way. You can just look up DM Blackwall. It's pretty easy to find me on there.
Okay.
You'll see pretty much the same picture.
DM_Blackwall.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
All right. With all that being said, if you would like to support the show, please like and subscribe. If you're wherever you are listening or viewing us at the moment, share us with your friends and your enemies. Comment, hit the bell notification, do all those interactive things at the platform of your choice that helps out the algorithm, if it does, which is always a mystery. All right. We are on the socials at Twitter at Biggest Geekus. Or no, I can't use Biggest Geekus right now because it's still blocked.
What?
But Big Geek Emporium at Big Geek Emporium on Twitter. We have some places where you can support us monetarily at PayPal, paypal.me/Biggest Geekus. Over at Streamlabs, Biggest Geekus 1/tip. I don't think Anchor has a funding source anymore.
Yeah, we'll take that off.
So yeah, we should take that off. We're over at ko-fi.com/Biggest Geekus and Patreon. Biggest Geekus at Patreon.
And I'm going to get a Rumble account to be live on Rumble soon.
Huh? Yes, we will Rumble there too. It's big. All you have to do is in the search bar of your for Rumble, type in Biggest Geekus with a space, without a space. It works either way.
Yes.
Right now, there are two things you can click on. I'm going to work to get that reduced to one because it doesn't make any sense. Everybody should go to the one place and the same place. So we are at biggestgeekuspodcast.com for our hugely out-of-date webpage. You can check us out at Big Geek Emporium and peruse a very large list of independent game products. Also, if you have some sort of communication you want to send us, our email is thegeeks@biggestgeekuspodcast.com. Anything else you two want to add?
I'm good, man.
Nope, all set. It was a pleasure being here.
Fantastic.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. Thanks to everybody out there who joined in on Rumble, Twitch, and on YouTube. And we will also thank the folks in a futuristic way who will be listening to the audio version out in podcast land.
Right on.
And with that, this is Joe.
And I'm Randy.
And remember, If you can't be big like us, then be geeks like us.